Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about public education and why all education should be privatized. So this is actually going to be very similar to any video that I do relating to why anything would be better when provided by the market, because that is a general principle that I hold relating to things. Because when a market is free, it allows individuals to produce based on their own ideas, use their own minds to produce, and since reason is an individual faculty, allowing the individual to produce without governmental force involved, is usually the best outcome. It leads to innovation, it leads to competition and lower prices, it leads to all these good things that government cannot do and government cannot provide effectively. So, let's just go over to education, but that's what I was leading this video off with. So, if you look at our current state of education throughout America, you see very poorly run schools in very low-class areas, and you see, it's not a very good educational system right now. The public education of this country is not the best. I personally went to a decent public education school, but it's more due to teachers, and it was actually very low funded too. There can be good public schools. I'm not disputing that fact, but I think generally if we look across the country on aggregate, the public schools are not doing the best. And you can look up statistics on this, you can look up anything on this. And also, I think the way our current education system is structured, it doesn't teach people what they need to learn. It doesn't teach people how to think conceptually. It teaches us to memorize certain things and to not think in terms of principles. So, like, for example, we memorize a bunch of different formulas for our physics class rather than learning integrating features. Although my physics teacher did really good at this, actually. So I feel like, but in general, a lot of classes, like history, for example, when they talk about the American Revolution, they give off like a list of 10 different fucking things that you need to memorize. No, the American Revolution was caused by ideas. It was caused by the Enlightenment. It was caused by John Locke. That's it. It's not really anything else, because why would you revolt against taxation if you didn't believe that taxation's immoral? If you didn't believe in the rights of individuals to choose their own destiny? Why would you create this country if you didn't believe that? So essentially, I think our current public education system's very concrete bound, and I think that's a general problem and I don't see much innovation out of this system, and that's a general problem that I do see with public education. You don't see much innovation. It's always been the same. It's been the same for hundreds of years. There's no real big innovations in this field, and it's not producing the best outcomes for students. So, private education would work much better, because then you get the Steve Jobs of the world. This is a quote from Rucka in one of his recent panels. You get the Steve Jobs of the world, the Bill Gates of the world, all using their minds, using their creativity, using their reason to create the best possible schools for everybody. And that to me seems like the best educational system, because what you get from that is innovation, new production, and parents get to choose what schools they want to send their kids to, based off what schools are the best and what schools are the cheapest. And that leads to competition, leads to more innovation, leads to all that sort of stuff. Now, the new question is, what about people that are born poor? What if they can't afford education? This is not a good way of looking at it either, because what happens is you see poor people still can afford to live. They can still afford food. They can still afford Nike shoes and Disney movies. And this is another quote from the Rucka panel that I really liked. That panel did really inspire me to make this video. But you see them affording all these other things. So they're going to be able to afford education, because the corporations, they want to make profits. They want to profit off these poor people. Yeah, so they're going to provide education to these people so that they can make more money, so that they can offer this standardized product to everybody. So just in general, these people are going to be able to afford these sort of things. And if they aren't, you'll see communities work together to fund schools and to make sure that everybody can go to school, because I mean that's the purpose of living in a society, living with people, so that you can work together to overcome different things. And it's the purpose of charity, essentially. And charity is not something that is completely irrational and this will never work because the people won't get enough money through charity. That's not true. People are going to have more money to donate to charity. Plus, you don't need that much money to send kids to school. It's a decent investment, but with lower prices, more innovation, higher quality, all the stuff that comes from the corporations creating new education facilities and new schools and all that sort of stuff, and running the schools in a more efficient way, and the new ideas and the new innovation, all that stuff, you'll see obviously better schooling outcomes because of the innovations and the competition for quality, and you'll see lower prices because these schools are going to compete to get people going to their school rather than the other school down the street. And yeah, so ultimately I think that you will see everybody getting to go to school. And charity will be able to fund the few people that can't, because there won't be that many people that can't go to school. Now, then there's the issue of equality of opportunity. This is one that a lot of people cite in regards to my argument. What about the people? Won't the schools that in poor neighborhoods still do worse than the schools in richer neighborhoods? And basically, they might. That's a very good possibility. However, you can't combat this possibility. You don't see these poor schools doing as well in public education either. You still see in very poor neighborhoods, schools still perform very poorly. And I do think that if you let new corporations go in and create new innovations in these areas, you'd see better schooling for these people. It wouldn't be as good as the super elite schools, obviously, and that's not what I'm advocating for. Or I'm not advocating to change that, because I don't view this inequality of opportunity as an inherently negative thing. Because I think if everybody is getting better than they currently are with a new system, I don't think that that's a problem. So ultimately, what public schooling would do, it would improve everybody's schooling just a little bit. It would improve it for the rich people too. But I don't see what's wrong with that. I think everybody would do better under this system. For all the reasons that I've outlined before, and yeah, for sure. So you would definitely still see inequalities in opportunity in this sense, but that's not necessarily a negative thing, because the only way to combat that is to pull back those of ability to the lower level, or not of ability, those who have this opportunity, to pull away their opportunities, to put everybody back at the same opportunity level. And as Rucka cited, this is similar to what they did in Cambodia with creating equality of opportunity. They took everybody out of the cities and put them in the fields, and everybody lived out there. They started at the same spot. That is the ideal for equality of opportunity. Now, they did take it. Now, Cambodia continued, and they also implemented equality of outcome when they killed the people who were more successful than other people, which I don't think most people advocate for that, but people do advocate the principle of equality of opportunity, which pulls all of us back to the same starting spot, pulls us to poverty. You can't pull people up in that sense. That's not possible, because you only have a limited amount of resources. So to take from these people and distribute it downward moves these people maybe up a little bit, but it moves everybody else, the middle class, the rich, down to a lower level. And ultimately, I don't even think that it would move the poor up that much in the long run. It would actually move them down in the long run, because of just the lack of innovation and the lack of quality of education that we actually see in the current system. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.